Hello again to a second video on EOTC summer activities, and a reminder that EOTC is more than just camping. It's about everything that's around us and in the world that we live in. You are constantly learning and interacting with different people, different places. You're reading, you're observing, you're traveling around Hong Kong and around between your home and your school, and these interactions that you have, they're all vital to your success and your education. And at RCHK, we're really committed to this, and that's one of the reasons why you are participating in real classes in your weekly timetable. So I just want to encourage you with this next video to do some more of the things that are around about us in Hong Kong that are easy to get to, not so strenuous. You don't have to climb too many mountains, and you can just visit them. You can take out your earphones, you can listen, look, feel, just sit and relax and absorb Hong Kong. And so in other words, I really want you to get into your life over the summer. I don't presume to know Hong Kong any better than any of you, but I just want to help you to be motivated and re-engage with our great city, and to stop the normal rush about Hong Kong that we have. Summer is a great time in Hong Kong. We normally all take off or leave Hong Kong and go to any variety of places, but Hong Kong is beautiful over summer. We have huge white clouds, deep blue skies, boiling hot sun, thunderstorm. There's a lot to like about our summer in Hong Kong. So I hope I can show you some of the more obscure parts and maybe some of the out of the way places that you haven't seen before, and or that you can visit again and enjoy. So first of all, maybe an old favorite, the 10,000 Buddha Monastery. This is an easy place to get to. You can just go to Sha Tin Station and walk over towards the IKEA shops and up the back of that a little bit, and then you'll be able to walk up the hill and you'll be able to see the 10,000 Buddha Monastery. And it's quite beautiful. You can take some time in here to just enjoy the scenery and sit and relax and learn some history. Second place I'd like you to go to is Victoria Park. Many of you have been to Victoria Park before, but it's a really interesting place, and there's lots to do here, and there's lots to see, and there's lots of history that's centered around this place. So it's very different at night time and in the daytime and when it's raining, etc. But I'd like you to maybe this time when you go to Victoria Park, walk over towards the waterfront here, and you'll know that in most typhoon shelters that are in Hong Kong, there'll be a little old lady or a little old man that's sitting there somewhere who's transporting the people out to the boats. And for a few dollars Hong Kong, you can convince them to take you out on a little trip around in the typhoon shelter, and you can enjoy Hong Kong in a different way. And you can sit on one of these little boats, and you can enjoy meeting the people that drive them around as well. Of course, no quick tour of Hong Kong would be complete without a visit to Lion Rock. You can go to Wong Tai Sin Station, you can see the temple there, or you can catch a minibus up to the base, or you can come to the Lion Rock Park at the back of Kowloon Tong and climb up from there. But Lion Rock Park lets you have beautiful views of the city. The Wong Tai Sin Temple is worth seeing as well. This is a view of Lion Rock from over near Diamond Hill. But from on top you get some great views around the city. The Nong Ping cable car is obviously a little bit further out, and you can journey out towards the airport. You might even be able to do some shopping at Tung Chung on your way through, but it's a great trip, a great day trip, the Nong Ping cable car and up to the Giant Buddha. And it's another place where you can maybe go up via cable car and walk back down on your way out. But there's some very interesting things to see up here and do, and just spend some time, because you don't have to rush through, and you can just watch some people walk in the streets and really enjoy the Giant Buddha for the fabulous historic and cultural venue that it is. Now I'd like you to show you some more obscure places that are really some of my highlights of Hong Kong, and there's four that I'll start with here, and they all center around the island of Tsing Yi. Okay, so if you come to Tsing Yi and get off at the railway station here, you'll be able to walk along the waterfront and see some things. There's a great pool just here for little kids, etc. But if you walk through the back here, and you can find some paths up onto the top of this mountain here, or you can come up on the bus up this way to near the intersection, you'll be able to find your way up onto the ridge. Now there's a walk that goes all the way across the top of this ridge, and it allows you to have fantastic views straight back across the new bridge and the harbour and back towards the city. So this is a really good one. It's quite a strenuous walk across the top there though, because it's a bit up and down. The other place I'd really like to show you here is from Singyi Station. You can catch a minibus up to the Bridge Museum, and this Bridge Museum is really beautiful and very interesting. And then of course over on the left here at Park Island we have a lovely beach, and you can catch the ferry to Park Island from Central. So if you're like me and you're into bridges, then the bridges in Hong Kong are absolutely spectacular, and they're worth driving back and forward across in various modes of transport when you can. So I'd really encourage you to get out here and see the Bridge Museum. Here's the pictures from the Bridge Museum. You can see across at the two bridges that are leading both out to the new territories and then out to the airport. This picture is taken from the beach at Park Island. So it's a really nice museum. It shows you how the bridge is constructed, and it has samples, and there's some really interesting history there about the bridge construction. From Singyi down at the near the pool, near the station, you can see some interesting boats and things, and then you can walk up the top of this ridge that I was telling you about. And once you're at the top, you get views back towards the airport, but you also have views back towards the city and the new bridge that goes around the front of the harbour. So it's very isolated here. You won't find many people walking around up here at all, and it will be very worthwhile. Of course, it's summer, so I'd also encourage you to go to any one of the pools if they open up. Hopefully they will. But there's pools in every district, from Hammer Hill and Choi Hung to Tai Wai. Chung Kwan O has a fantastic pool with a diving pool. If you want to learn how to dive from the 3-meter boards, you can go to Chung Kwan O. But every district has a pool. It's cheap. It's only $19 for adults, and students even less, so you should be getting out there to the pools as much as you can. And you know also that the Ma On Shan pool is very, very good. Now the next place I'd like to take you is out along the East Rail line on the way up, along the light blue line, the old KCR, up to Tai Po and Tai Po Market Station. Halfway between Tai Po and Tai Po Market is the Hong Kong Railway Museum, and that's really beautiful. And that's worth going to check that out. All around there's a small township that's very interesting as well, with some nice temples and market streets, and you won't find any tourists here. The other thing you can do is from Tai Po Station, you can catch a taxi up to Kaduri Farm, and or to halfway up to Kaduri Farm. You can stop off at this village, Pak Nao Shek, and you can do a walk up in here to some beautiful waterfalls. This is not such a hard walk. It's partly in the shade and in some jungle. It'll be hot and steamy over summer, but you can have a swim when you get there. So these places are very, very interesting. The Railway Museum, I'm sure you've been there. You can see the old KCR symbols and everything. You can hop in old carriages and walk around. So it's really worth seeing. You can play with some train sets, etc. And the interesting thing about the KCR is if you look on the trains on East Rail now, you can actually see the old KCR signs still, because when the MTR took over 15 years ago and they joined together, they just took the stickers off the carriages, so you can still see them. Here's the waterfall up that valley that I was telling you about. If you go on a rainy day, it's quite nice. Just be safe about getting in the water if there's a lot of rain. But these are very nice pools to swim in, and it's a very beautiful waterfall. And that's probably only about less than an hour walk up. You'll come to the first waterfall. There's 3 waterfalls that you can actually, or 2 waterfalls you can go to, and you can walk around the top of the waterfall if you want to walk further. Kaduri Farm, of course, is an old favourite, and I assume that most of you will have gone here during your primary school days, because most local schools will go to Kaduri Farm. This has a really sustainable development sort of mindset about it, Kaduri Farm, and that's exactly how it started up. So they have pigs and cows and recycling and all sorts of places there. You can run around the grass in your bare feet, and you can really enjoy the garden. So that's a really nice day out there as well. Closer into the city now, in the West Kowloon Cultural Precinct, I'm sure you've all been there. The bikes there now are really cheap to hire. You can walk there from from West Kowloon Station and Elements. It's only a 15-minute walk across. You can hire the bikes at the top side of this near the typhoon shelter, and then you can ride here, and then you can ride down along there, and you can do this ride around here. You can hire a bike by the hour. It's quite cheap. And so this is a beautiful part of Hong Kong because it allows you to look across at the city. So you can sit on the rocks at the front. Often this park is almost empty. There's a large grassy area here. You can bring a football and kick it around if you want to as well. Some people on Sundays and Saturdays bring little tents and sit them up in the shade and hang around here for a while. There's also some cafes that you can enjoy an ice cream at the waterfront if you want to. Now back over to the Green Line, and down near Kowloon Bay we also have Choi Hung and Diamond Hill again, and above Choi Hung you can get out of the train at Choi Hung and you can get a taxi up to what is called the Jordan Valley Park, or you can get a taxi up to Fei No Shan Road, and then you can walk up. If you're really feeling energetic. This is a very steep climb and quite dangerous, so you need to be careful if you're going to go here, but you can start this walk going up the Fei No Shan Road. So this is climbing Fei No Shan. It's one of the more close mountains to Hong Kong City, and yet it has view back. That's Hebe Haven from on top. You can look back down towards Hong Kong. It's a very, very beautiful but very stiff and hot climb. Take plenty of water if you're coming here. You can also get some pictures there if you're with your parents maybe. You can go over to this place here. You can see you can get some pretty spectacular pictures sitting on the edge of the cliff there. So make sure if you go there you're with an adult and you're being very safe. While we're over near Diamond Hill and near Choi Hung, halfway between Choi Hung and Diamond Hill, we have the Nan Lian Gardens and the monastery there. And this is a really beautiful little quiet, secluded area. Often not that many people in here as well, so it's a beautiful place to visit. There's a vegetarian restaurant in here as well that people tell me it's very good, but there's some nice fish ponds and some beautiful trees and gardens in here worth seeing. The other thing that I'd really like to highlight here is that there's some really interesting ancient architecture here, ancient Chinese architecture. And China, as you may know, is prone to earthquakes, and so in the ancient times the building techniques factored this in, and so there's some little models here of buildings, and all these joints are wooden joints that were designed to withstand earthquakes, and the foundations are that the pillar here, the column, just sits on the ground, so when the earthquake comes the whole building just moves back and forward and shakes and rattles, but the joints don't come undone because they're not stuck and they allow for movement. So it's a really interesting little place to visit. Okay, next I'd like to take you over to Yau Tong, still on the Green Line. We're coming towards the end of the Green Line over here at Yau Tong, and the Li Yu Mun Channel coming through here, which you might have passed through on your way to Tung Lung at some stage. Over on this side we have the Museum for Coastal Defence, which is another video that we might need to make. But down here is a very interesting part of Hong Kong that not many people visit. You can walk over the Yau Tong Hill and through some interesting public housing estates there, down into the typhoon shelter, and you can come. That's the Yau Tong station. This is the typhoon shelter, and you can come to some very narrow streets that have had actually some famous movies in Hong Kong. You might see gangster movies with people running across roofs and down skinny alleyways. That's all happening down in here. And there's also a lot of seafood. So if you're into seafood, this is the place that you can go and spend the morning. Across the water now over to Tai Kau Shing on the Island Line, and from Tai Kau Shing here you can walk, it's only a 10-minute walk, and if you take the right way you can go most of the way in air conditioning, across to the Alexander Grantham fireboat. I'm sure you've been here, but there's a lovely waterfront walk here as well with great views. So if you're over here you can have lunch in Tai Kau, and you can walk around here and you can see the museum, which is open now, and you can pretend you're a fireboat captain and learn about some history there. Okay, back to Jordan Valley Park. I've got this one out of order for you, but this is up the top of the hill above Choi Hung, and this is actually a really nice park, and a lot of the local people here are going to this park, and you can climb the hill behind it. This is Fei No Shan, which I was telling you about a minute ago. This park is great. Over here in this park, they have a massive motorized miniature car racing track. So on Sundays or Saturdays, you might see people there having races. You can bring your football here and play around. There's also some kiosks, etc. Okay, back to Sha Tin, or Tai Wai now actually, and from Tai Wai you can walk up the back of Tai Wai towards Sha Tin, and then you can find your way up the ridge here. You can walk all the way up to what is called Needle Hill. This is another stiff climb for those of you that might want a challenge. This is a really good one because it's sort of almost in the center of Hong Kong, so you can see right across to the island, and you can see north. This down here is actually Tsuen Wan and Sing Yi, and the airport's out that way. The city's back to the left there. But this is a beautiful walk, and there's the actual Needle Hill, and it's actually part of the Macklehose Trail as well. The last thing I'd like to show you is to encourage you to get out to Hong Kong Wetland Park, which is on the Chun Mun line and right out near the end. So if you go out to Tin Shu Wai, on that line, you can get off there and you can do the light rail then, and you can go out to the Hong Kong Wetland Park. There's some great activities here. There's food and everything for kids, and you can walk around. You'll see more high-rise out here in one place than you've ever seen in your life. This is a massive dormitory suburb of Hong Kong, and there's a lot of people living out here, but there's also some nice natural areas as well. So Hong Kong Wetland Park up here near Tin Shu Wai. If you keep going on the train, you'll come down this valley and you'll end up at Tsuen Mun, and you can change there, and I'd really encourage you to get on to the whole light rail system. There's a whole other world out there of a new little railway, and you can jump on one of these little trams and you can travel around this light rail. There's also a lovely waterfront, and you can enjoy a very different part of Hong Kong that people don't normally go to. So get out there. Maybe you're going to need to watch this video in small sections as it's so long, and I hope you can enjoy Hong Kong, and I hope you can continue to learn, and remember that EOTC is about getting into your life.